Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our free June webinar, Unlocking Your Worth as a Bookkeeper. And we'll be sharing effective strategies for communicating your value. I'm so excited that you are joining me today. And as always, as you're joining me, let me know in the chat where you're joining from. And as you're doing that, I don't know if you noticed that we did not have a May webinar, and that's because I got called for jury duty. And so I had to go to jury duty that day. And as a result, could not be with you to present the webinar. And I actually got picked to be on a jury panel, had to go back a month later to serve on the jury panel, but then they basically didn't need us. So I fulfilled my civic duty for that day. So as you're joining, let me know in the chat where you're joining me from. And again, we are today we're talking about unlocking your worth as a bookkeeper and effective strategies for communicating value. And let me see if we have anything in the chat yet. I know that we have a bit of a delay, so I still don't see you guys on the chat. So let me know if you, again, if you're there, where you're joining from, and then we can get started. So for the moment, I'll just wait a little bit just to let people join and until I can see you guys on the chat. I still don't see anything on the chat. So if you're joining me, let me know if you're there and where you're joining from. There it goes. Alicia, is it from Ohio? Sarah from Seattle. Sherry from Manitoba. I see. Boy, it starts to move really fast. Okay. Holly from Portland. And I'm going to skip over some. Natalie from Vancouver. Carrie from Long Island. Tatiana from Alaska. Noah Lynn from Las Vegas. Brandy from Texas. Howdy. Frankie from Utah. Adebayo from Virginia. Philip from Alabama. Angie from Texas, Babak from British Columbia, Alicia from Houston, right down the freeway from me here in Stafford. Hello. Linda from Atlanta, Kenyatta from Augusta, Georgia, Glenn from Dallas. So welcome and thank you for joining me. And I see more. Kevin from Cincinnati. Fantastic. I think there's a bit of a delay from when I'm talking and when you guys are putting your chat in the comments. So hopefully that'll work okay for our presentation today. I see Jane from North Carolina, Laura from Colorado, Tina. Hello, Tina from Utah. Rhonda from Boise, Idaho. And Deborah, oh my goodness, Deborah, 6:30 a.m. in New Zealand. I hope you're drinking a very strong cup of coffee this morning. So welcome everyone. So once again, we are talking about unlocking your worth as a bookkeeper. And we're going to go over some of the effective strategies that I have found in for actually developing and communicating value. And Abiola says it's 2:30 p.m. in Montreal. So welcome everyone. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And you get this in front of me. Hold on 1 second to get all of this in the right spot for myself here. All right. So in case you don't know me, my name is Veronica Wasek. I'm the founder of the 5MB Academy for Virtual Bookkeepers, where I empower bookkeepers to become better bookkeepers. I'm the CEO and founder of Maven. It was formerly called the VM Wasek. We just went through a very exciting rebrand, and we are now called Maven. And we provide bookkeeping and consulting for Shopify and e-commerce sellers. You may also know me from my YouTube channel and blog, 5-Minute Bookkeeping. I'm also the founder of the Facebook group, 5-Minute Bookkeeping Community. I am both a top 10 and a top 100 QuickBooks Pro advisor I am a certified public accountant and also certified advanced in QBO. And in fact, I just recertified last week, so I'm excited to get that out of the way. I live in Sugar Land, Texas, right down the road from Houston. And you can find me on Instagram at 5 Minute Bookkeeping. I also didn't put it there, at Veronica Wasek, and also at Mavency. So we will be putting out new Instagram content here in the near future. So I need to start to learn to have you guys follow me on Instagram. And I'm also the very proud co-owner with my husband of a beautiful farm and ranch in Hallettsville, Texas, which is basically right in the middle, right in between San Antonio, Houston, and Austin here in Texas. And we have a beautiful farm and ranch. Was able to make my husband's dream come true, first to retire and second to buy land. And we have a 90-acre property that keeps us fairly busy on the weekends. Just some administrative announcements. All content, handouts, and recordings are under copyright, and you may not record this webinar. You will be provided handouts. You should be able to see those already. If you do not, don't worry about it. Well, I believe Jesse is my trusted team member, is giving you the link to the handouts. And also, we will email everyone the recording of today's webinar as well as the handout. So if you need to leave early, no worries, we will send you the recording. You may interact in the chat and talk amongst yourselves in the chat. Jessie will be putting some links. As if I refer to something, she'll put those in the chat for you. I will be monitoring the Q&A, and there will be time for Q&A at the end of the presentation. And as I said, the recording will be emailed, and it will include the link to the handout. So our agenda today, we're going to talk about the common misconceptions that we have about value, why clients don't value what you do, and also what clients really value, and then some tips for effectively communicating your value to clients. And hold on 1 second. So I'm trying to make my window a little bit bigger so I can see better. There we go. Okay. So one of the things that I hear a lot of you ask in social media, Facebook groups, is how can I convince a client to work with me? Or how can I convince a client that my pricing is reasonable? Or how can I convince them that they need to sign that service agreement or my engagement letter? And we all think that we have to convince someone to do something. But actually, a lot of it has to do with value and not convincing someone. They need to be convinced. They need to convince themselves. They already need to be convinced that they need to be to work with you. And so what we're going to do today is to talk about value. We're going to learn what value really is and why we don't need to convince the right clients to work with us. So instead of convincing, now we're going to learn about what do we need to do so that the right clients will want to work with us. Let's start with common misconceptions about value. Well, first of all, is our own misconceptions. Who you work with and what you do for them. So we think that value comes from certain things. But most of the time we think, well, I'll just work with anyone for any service, for any price, because, everybody needs bookkeeping. Or I think I'm a bookkeeper, I do taxes, I do reconciling, we do the financials, we do taxes, we help clients to get ready for taxes, or maybe we do their taxes, and we think that's valuable. And while, yes, there is some value to that, later we'll find out that that's not really what creates value. But those are the things that we think are very valuable. We also think why we do it is valuable. Like, you love numbers, you love bookkeeping, accounting and taxes. Small business owners, they need bookkeeping, they need accounting, they need taxes. And small business owners need those accurate and timely financials. We think that that is valuable, and that is a misconception. And really what we value as bookkeepers for the most part, and I find myself sometimes saying this to clients, is that, those timely and accurate financials. So if you work with us, you're going to have timely and accurate financials. We're going to close the books. We're going to reconcile the bank accounts. And because that's part of what we do, we think that is valuable. But there are also client misconceptions. Clients and prospective clients have their own misconceptions. They think, well, I can automate everything with QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks Online makes everything simple. I can do my own bookkeeping. Bookkeepers are only doing data entry anyway. I can hire a bookkeeper directly from QuickBooks. Right? They can go to QuickBooks, they can go to Bench, they can go to many other services and hire a bookkeeper directly from them. Or, XYZ service can do my books for just $100 a month. There's also the misconception again of they can just get QuickBooks and their books are automatically done, and they can work with a QuickBooks Live Bookkeeper or some other service, and again leads to misconceptions on the part of clients. Alex is asking, can this qualify as continuing education? And the answer is no, I do not provide continuing education credits. Okay, next. Let's talk about why clients don't value what you do. So plain and simple, clients do not value what you do. Clients don't value what we do. So they're not sitting there in the middle of the night when they cannot sleep saying, if I only had timely and accurate financials. They're not saying that. And so that is not what they value. So when they're staying up late at night, they're probably asking themselves, how can I save time? Because I'm so busy. How can I do all of this when I'm doing it all myself, or when I don't have enough people who work for me, when I'm shorthanded, understaffed? And they're also asking themselves, how can I increase profits and cash flow? So they're not asking like, okay, how can I solve my problem with timely and accurate financials? So what do clients really value? It's 4 things. Basically, eliminating negative emotions, increasing positive emotions, saving time, and making more money. And I think you can agree that we all ultimately value those things in our own businesses and our personal lives. And it's really primarily about emotions. It's about what they can do with their time and their resources and even their mental capacity when they don't have to worry about their bookkeeping. But again, it's emotions. Now let's talk about clients' perception of value, because we've established now that clients don't value what we do, which is the financials and the reconciling and the bookkeeping. So then what do they perceive as valuable? So in order to give you a really important lesson, a very deep lesson here, we're going to actually talk about something that we can all understand, so that then we can understand really what drives value. So I was recently in Austin, Texas at the SellerCon conference, which is a conference for e-commerce sellers. And even though I live in Texas and we eat a lot of Tex-Mex food, in Austin, it seemed like they just had a lot of tacos in particular. So let me know in the chat, do you love tacos? Because I do happen to love a good taco, and especially, those street tacos like the ones that I have here, they are yummy. So let me know in the chat, do you love tacos? But we are going to learn some very important lessons about value by talking about tacos. And Joy says, who doesn't love tacos? And yeah, lots of you love tacos. Fish tacos, says Tina. I like that. I like shrimp tacos also. So I think, yeah, you probably all love tacos. Yeah, Sherry says she's a Texas gal. She loves tacos. And Maureen says she loves them. So yeah, we all love tacos. But when it comes to tacos, okay, do we, like, if we're gonna go eat tacos, or it's Taco Tuesday, or we're getting ready for the football game, or whenever it is that you eat tacos, do we care that the tortillas have 3 cups of all-purpose flour, or 1 teaspoon of salt, that they have baking powder, vegetable oil or lard, that you put water to make the tortillas, or that they're 159 calories and have 3 grams of fat? When we're going to eat that taco, we're not too concerned about what's in the taco. Or what about the taco meat? Do we care that there's tomato sauce in it, or onion powder, or garlic powder, salt, cumin, chili powder, oil, pepper? Do we sit there and look at what's in our ground beef and in the taco meat? Not really, because we really just want that experience of eating those delicious tacos. And think about taking that lime and just squeezing it on there, and taking that first bite of that taco. It feels really good, right? So how do you feel when you eat tacos? Let me know in the comments. Maybe you get happy, you're excited. So let me know in the comments, how do you feel when you eat tacos? Because you already told me that you love tacos. So how do you feel when you eat tacos? I think about cilantro. I mean, I know some of you don't love cilantro, but I love cilantro, and I love avocado, because I grew up in Chile, where I was born, and we have a lot of avocados in Chile. Now, they don't have guacamole in Chile, but we ate avocados probably breakfast, lunch, and dinner for many, many days in a row. And I see Cantrell put an emoji there. And Lisa says she loves what it's like to that they taste good with cilantro or culantro and onion. Tina says she feels delighted. Jeff, no cilantro. Okay, no cilantro for Jeff. Sherry Lee says, I'm loving the flavor and nostalgic. Rebecca says she loves cilantro and avocado. Starlene says she loves a soft shell corn tortilla based tacos. And now Natalie says she's hungry. Sorry, Natalie. Maria says hungrier. You're inspiring Taco Tuesdays for sure. But yum, like Faye says, yum. When we eat tacos, how do we feel? Satisfied. Yummy, good memories, maybe friends, activities, Taco Tuesday. In fact, when I do this webinar once a month, we typically will either pick up tacos from our local taco place, or we go and pick up food from our Mexican restaurant. And so there's always this to where I'm looking forward to doing the webinar, because I'm going to get to eat Mexican food before. And of course, I love being with you guys as well. But there are emotions that get associated with different things. And so again, everything is about emotions. So emotions are the real source of value. And how a client feels when they work with you is very important. In fact, let's talk about our client's perception of value. First of all, clients perceive value differently. So different types of clients value different things. And they are willing to pay for the value that they perceive. And notice how I'm using the word perceive, because it is a perception of value. So they're willing to pay for the value that they perceive based on what's important to them. So we all value things differently. We perceive value differently. And Maria says, tacos definitely bring up happy emotions and makes her feel like family. So again, it's all about perception of value. And since clients perceive value differently, and since they're willing to pay for what they consider important or valuable then it makes sense that there would be different levels of value. So there's actually a value scale. We have value from low all the way to premium. So low value, medium, high, and premium. So let's look at some examples, still talking about tacos that fit the value scale at different levels in the value scale. So we'll start with low value. So how many of you have gone to Jack in the Box and gotten the 2 tacos for 99 cents? Okay, so those are like the cheapest tacos I think I could find. So those are low value tacos, just 99 cents. So what is the perceived value? Because people are, I mean, these tacos have been around for as long as I can remember. People are still buying them. So why would they buy a cheap taco? Well, because it is cheap. It's very inexpensive. It's something that it's fast. It's fast food. You can get it quickly. You don't have to have a lot of money, and it's very convenient. And maybe you love, I know people who love the Jack in the Box tacos. Maybe it brings up some happy memories as well. But the perceived value generally is that it's cheap and fast. Kim says she's never had them. And then Teresa says she loves Jack in the Box tacos. So like I said, people value different things. They perceive value differently. Jackie may love the Jack in the Box tacos, perhaps because maybe she went there as a child with her family and they have some great memories eating the Jack in the Box tacos. Or maybe some people love them just because they're cheap. I mean, you can just, grab a couple of them for $1. So that is something that is now low value. Now let's go on to medium value. So medium value, for an example, I'm giving you Solis Casa de Tacos, which is our local taco joint here in Stafford. It's just 5 minutes from our office. They serve tacos all day, and they have breakfast tacos and lunch tacos. And their tacos always taste good, and they're very consistent. So if I get the number, I'm trying to see, I can't see the number 17, the fajitas, they will always taste the same way. Or the pollo asada, number 14, the chicken tacos will always taste the same way, but they're wonderful. And I mean, given today's prices, they're reasonably priced. And generally, if you 2 to 3, you're full. So, but what is valuable about them? Well, the taste, the experience, as I said, a very consistent experience. Taco Tuesday, we will go there, as I said, on the Tuesdays when we're doing webinars. So we're either going there to pick up tacos or we're going to a local Mexican restaurant. It's convenient because, as I said, it's only 5 minutes from us. You can call in and pick up your order. They're very friendly. And also, it's a business that has a lot of tradition here in our area. It's a family owned. They're a local business, so we want to support a local business. So again, now we're going a little bit higher than the cheap tacos. They're still fairly inexpensive, but there are reasons, and many of them are just emotional reasons as to why I perceive them as, my go-to taco place. And Angie says low value can sometimes give you bad quality, and that is true. And sometimes that's the perception too. Maybe perhaps what you perceive as a low value, you also perceive that you will get low quality. And Maria says the Jack in the Box tacos was a survival tool as a college student since, yeah, I understand, because we used to go to a restaurant when I was in college and pay like the lowest price. And they gave you a whole bunch of free bread, and we just grabbed all the free bread and took it along because, we paid like, I don't know, $3 for something and then got $5 worth of bread, probably. So again, going back to, we've talked about low value, then medium value. Now let's go into high value. So as I said, I was in Austin a couple of weeks ago. And at the hotel, they had this taco restaurant called the Austin Taco Project. And as you can see, just even from the pictures, we're now getting into a more upscale experience. Just notice the photo that you're seeing there, how the tacos are made. I would say they're not traditional looking. So now, just from looking at them, you're now expecting a different experience. And just look at, they have the little pepper, the grilled limes there. And if you notice their slogan here on the left, it says tacos, tequila, and games, oh my. So already they're painting the picture for you that this is going to be an experience that's beyond tacos, that there's going to be eating, there's going to be drinking, and games and fun games. And so already we have a perception of this is a higher value experience. Now, along with that expectation of a higher value experience, there's also higher pricing. In fact, their tacos, which was generally speaking 2 tacos, so only 2 tacos, they range from $14 to $19 for only the 2 tacos. So a side of rice, chips, salsa, everything else is a la carte. So if you want rice, $6. Black beans, $6. Chips, $6. Salsa, $6. I made it easy with the pricing. But if you ate the tacos, chips, salsa, rice, and beans, that'll be about $40. And that's not including any drinks. And they're known for their drinks. So already, as I said, there was a perception of higher value, and that perception also brought the reality of higher pricing as well, and a different experience. What is the perceived value then? We have an upscale experience, premium quality ingredients, great taste, a very trendy atmosphere, and very creative taco making. In fact, we ate this, it was called the weird avocado taco, and it was actually in a slice of like a pickled jicama. So that was the jicama was the tortilla, and then the taco filling was an avocado with some sort of like seeds that were crusting the avocado. It was very weird looking, but it was actually really good. But again, a very different experience. Next, we have premium value. Now, did you know that there is actually a $25,000 taco? I Googled the word world's most expensive taco. I did not realize that it was going to be $25,000. But actually, if you Google it, you will find it. It is at the new Grand Velas Los Cabos resort in Mexico. It is the world's most expensive taco made with Kobe beef, beluga caviar, and truffle, and served on a gold flake infused tortilla. And they even have this, I think it was some sort of tequila that you could get for like $100,000 or some crazy amount to go with it. Because, if you're going to spend $25,000, you might as well just throw in $100,000 more. And June says a $25,000 taco can't be a real taco. But why do they make it? Because I guarantee you somebody's going to order that expensive taco. So then what is the perceived value for someone who might order that taco? Decadence, right? An over-the-top experience. Being able to impress others. I mean, if you're that rich that you would spend $25,000 on a taco and then tell other people about it or put it on your social media, now you are impressing others. And in fact, you're saying, I am rich and I can afford a $25,000 taco. So again, it's about perception of value. Do they have $25,000 worth of ingredients in that taco? Of course not. But there's that perception of value. And then the value and the emotions that come with, I'm so rich, I can afford this taco. Oh, Elon Musk, someone said. Bragging rights. Cantrell says bragging rights. Elon Musk would probably order the $25,000 taco. So now bringing it back to us and the lessons that we're trying to take away. Where do you want to be on the value scale? So when I started my bookkeeping business, I had worked for a CPA who he was doing tax returns for $300 per tax return. And I noticed that he had hundreds of clients and that he didn't have time really to pay attention to any of them, and that the clients generally were really cheap. And so I thought, okay, I don't think I need to have that kind of accounting or bookkeeping business where now I'm going to go for cheap prices, because now I need to make it up in volume. And that's one thing that we have to consider then as we're looking at the value scale and where we want to be in that value scale. That if we want to then sell those cheap tacos, we might have to have a lot of clients, and maybe we won't be able to give them a lot of attention. And ultimately, it might be hard to scale something of that magnitude. And if we go over to the premium experience, I don't know that we would be able to find that many clients who want like an ultra premium experience. And so at least for me, I found that I needed to be somewhere in between here in the middle and high value, to then find those clients that the clients that I wanted to work with. And remember when we started, I said finding the right clients, because there may be hundreds of people, thousands of people who want the cheap tacos, but the people who are selling the tacos at the Austin Taco Project that are 2 for $18 are not concerned about selling a taco that is, or 2 tacos for 99 cents. They are targeting very different customers. And so that's where we have to then decide, where are we in that value scale? Where do we want to be? I mean, we might be possibly in the 2 tacos for 99 cents, but then where do we want to be in that scale in order to now have a better picture of who we want to work with, and then see that, you know what, I don't have to convince the person who wants this type of taco of the value, unless I'm trying to sell that taco to the person who wants the Jack in the Box tacos. All right, so let me know in the chat, where do you want to be on the value scale? So what kind of tacos do you want to sell, basically? So let me know that. And perhaps you've never thought about it. And Angie says she likes the Austin taco and the one for $25,000. Maybe you just need about 3 clients, so, super ultra expensive clients, and you got it made. But Sarah says middle to high. Rob says high value. Sherry, medium to high. And that's about where I started too, is I need to be in that medium to high level. And yes, several of you are saying in the middle, the Austin taco, middle to high. So I think I've made my point in what I was trying to show you. So the big takeaway here is that clients value how they feel when they work with you. That is the most important thing. If you don't remember anything about today's webinar, that is the most important thing. And Karen says tired of low value clients. And yeah, we kind of tend to, when we start out or don't differentiate, we get stuck in that low value clients, and then they keep referring more low value clients. So now that we understand that there is a perception of value, that clients value how they feel when they work with you, and that they're willing to pay for different things based on what they perceive and based on what's important to them, then why can't we find those better clients? Well, because we keep making some mistakes. We keep making these mistakes that keep us stuck where we are. First of all, there's a value misalignment. Okay, so basically, you perceive what's valuable as timely and accurate financials, cheap or low cost. We're going to save them money on apps. And essentially that we're trying to do what everybody else is doing and ultimately just having to compete on price. Whereas your ideal client, your medium to high value client, wants clarity into their profits. They want someone to do their books so that they can focus on growing their business. They want someone to streamline their financial systems using apps. They want someone to make their tax season easier. They want them to eliminate the worry around tax season. This is really important. A bookkeeper or accountant who responds to them on a timely basis. I hear that all the time. My bookkeeper doesn't respond to me. My CPA never calls me back. How do they feel when no one is calling them back? They feel bad, right? And again, we said values about emotions. Or they want someone who understands their business because their CPA and current bookkeeper don't. And we work with a lot of clients who fall in that arena in the e-commerce world. Their CPA does not understand e-commerce or they don't want to touch it, and their bookkeeper messed up their books because they didn't know how to work with e-commerce. So there's that value misalignment. So basically what we're doing is that we are giving the client the taco recipe because we think that is valuable, and the client wants the taco experience. And it's a very different experience because remember, we said they don't care what's in the taco. You don't care what's in the taco. You just care about how it makes you feel. So we have that value misalignment. And again, how clients perceive what we do. Do they perceive that we're just giving them the taco recipe, or do they perceive that we're creating an experience for them? And so we keep attracting cheap clients and we don't know why, because we think we're offering a high value experience or high value service, but perhaps the clients that you're attracting just want the cheap taco. So they're not seeing the value. They just want a cheap taco. But we think we have got to convince the cheap taco people that they need a more expensive taco. You're never going to convince them. But I would say the worst mistake is when clients perceive that you are offering the cheap taco and they want the high value taco. But they don't, again, are not perceiving that that's what you offer based on the ways that you are communicating your brand, your offerings, your pricing. They perceive that they might be getting the low value offer. Ultimately, you cannot convince someone if they don't see the value. And lower pricing will not help you win the right clients because many of us default to, well, they don't want to work with me. It must be because my pricing is too high. I must lower my price. And what happens is we all keep competing on price because there's nothing else we're competing on. There's nothing else we're communicating to our clients that we do different. So ultimately, the solution so that you stop making the same mistake is that your brand and your services must attract an ideal client at the same level in the value scale. So if I'm going to sell a high value taco, then everything about my brand, everything about my marketing, everything about what I do, and everything they perceive, so what they see, what they hear, and what they perceive has to be consistent with the kind of taco that I want to sell. All right, so how do we then start to communicate value? So how do we then take what we do, which we said it's not about the bookkeeping, it's not about the reconciliations, it's not about the timely and accurate financials. How do we then communicate value, and what words do we use then? Because we're not going to tell clients that work with me and I'll make you happy. That doesn't work either. So we have to find the things that they perceive as valuable. So here are 9 ways to communicate value to clients. And let me know in the chat if you have other ways to communicate value to clients. But let's go through these first. And in fact, after we go through these, let me know in the chat if you have others that you would like to add. So one of them, I think the key ways in which we can then communicate value to clients so they can perceive our services as valuable is to provide fixed pricing. Why? Because then they know how much they're going to pay you. I mean, none of us want to go to a service provider and not know how much they're going to charge. I mean, how many of us have gone to an attorney and then all of a sudden we get this bill and think like, oh my gosh, it's thousands of dollars. What did they do? And so I would say the majority of people want to know how much something is going to cost ahead of time. And so we need to move, and we have been moving as an industry away from hourly pricing into fixed pricing. And one of the big reasons is because not only does it help us, but it helps the client, because now they have peace of mind to know how much your services are going to cost. And then if they're working with you on a monthly basis, they know exactly what it's going to cost every single month. The other is needs assessments. And you probably have attended some of my webinars in which I talk about doing paid needs assessments. So this is basically providing a paid service in which we get a full scope of work before we do a cleanup, for example. So now we're going to assess their needs first. We're going to charge for that. And then we're going to tell the client exactly what was wrong with their books, and then give them a plan for getting their books caught up, cleaned up, and ready for ongoing bookkeeping. Needs assessment. The third is completion of work. So let's say that a client comes to you for a cleanup, for example, or you're going to set up their books, or even you're going to do their monthly bookkeeping. When can they expect that you will be done with their work? We give most of our clients a date, like we're going to do your cleanup and it'll be done in this many weeks or by this date. They want to know when their work will be done. The same with their monthly bookkeeping. When will it be done? Now, we all know that clients delay in answering our questions, so we have to then put a little caveat, like assuming your full cooperation. But for the most part, if we can tell a client when something will be done, if they cooperate with the process, a lot of the clients actually become very helpful. Another way in which we can communicate value is just communication, talking to them, answering their questions, getting back to them on a regular and a consistent basis. Don't ghost your client. Don't disappear on them. We have a policy of responding to our clients within 24 business hours. And so they know that when they send a question to us, that we will reply. Sometimes it may be like, I'll have to get back to you, but we reply to our clients, and they know they can then depend on us to get back to them. Another way to communicate value to clients who value working virtually is that you work virtually with them. So if you work with clients who are more tech savvy and they can work virtually with you, that is valuable to them. Another thing of value to them is industry-specific solutions. So do you have a niche? Do you bring something to the table for that specific industry that you know, where you bring that expertise where perhaps other bookkeepers and accountants don't have that expertise? Then going to the line at the bottom, securing their sensitive financial information. There are so many of us now working with remote teams, and it's very important to make sure that everything is secure, especially financial information. So we need to let them know we're securing your financial information. Also, that we're working with and using apps to save them time. I have a lot of clients who are very keen on using apps. They really want to use apps. They value that. And lastly, making it easy to work with you. So perhaps you have a client portal, say like Keeper or others, Financial Sense is another, Client Hub is another. We use Keeper at our firm to make it easy to work with us. So we have a client portal where we can send questions to clients, where they can respond to us, where they can upload documents, where they can communicate with us. So we make it easy for them to work with us. So let me see if you, let me put that up there. What are some ways in which you can communicate value to clients that perhaps I didn't list? Because there are many other things we can do. I mean, even you might send them little gifts. We actually went to visit one of our clients in Austin, like, hey, we care about you enough to want to go see you face to face and go see where you work and what you do. I mean, there are so many ways in which you can communicate value to clients. You could send them cookies. And again, it's just about creating that experience with clients so that we're going beyond just them seeing us as like people who are doing data entry and reconciliations. And let me see. Cantrell says that they send letters by mail. And that's fantastic. A personal touch with your client, that's great. And let's see, let me go back to the chat here. Oh yeah, letters by mail. Starling says with communication and open to communicating for the way that works best for them. So yeah, some clients, they just want to text. And so maybe you have to use clients or you want to work with clients who text, and then you have to give them that ability to do that. Starling says that they send out cards for their anniversaries. They send gift cards, birthday gifts, etc. So that's, again, very nice to do that. And I would say even being on the receiving end of working with some of the clients that we work with, some of our clients, because they're e-commerce sellers, they have sent us products. Like they have sent free products to us, which we really appreciate and makes us feel special because they appreciate us. So we've gotten makeup brushes, lipstick, and other things that we got face care products from our clients. And so even that it shows us that they value us. So again, it can be on the receiving end, or you can do things like that for your clients too, so that they feel special. Rebecca, I think, has a question. So Rebecca, if you put that in the Q&A, then I will answer you there, because I'm going to go into the Q&A here shortly to answer your questions. All right. So why can't you find good clients then? Because I said we're kind of getting stuck in this cycle. Well, we're looking for clients who value what we do, but we get stuck in this circle because of our messaging. Okay, so part of the reason why, like we said, part of it is we're not communicating value, but a lot of it has to do with the way that we are putting out our marketing message, or I call it positioning as well. So what happens is we're not clear on what clients value, so we have this lack of clarity. And so then we keep sending the wrong message to clients. So as I said before, maybe we look like the 99-cent tacos when we're really trying to sell the $18 tacos. And because we keep sending the wrong message, then we're either getting no clients or bad clients. And it all goes back to your marketing strategy. And marketing strategy really has, there's this full circle that you see here, and value communication is only one part of your marketing. So to be successful at finding good clients who value what you do, then you really need to also address these other areas. And I've in my videos and some of my marketing materials, and you will see that I've talked about some of these other areas, like identifying who's your ideal client. So we have to know who's the client that wants the taco I'm selling, because the taco I'm selling is not the 99-cent taco person, it's somebody else. So who are they? Where are they? My brand, how do I come across to people? by the brand colors, the images that I use, the messaging that I put out there, even my own mindset. Sometimes we are stuck in this mindset of, well, I can only find, these really cheap clients. Well, it's sometimes we have to work on our mindset to then elevate our mindset so that then we can attract the right clients. Our call to action also. Do we even have a call to action when people go to our marketing? Are they clear on what they need to do next? Our messaging, again, our marketing message. What are we saying about what we do and how we do it and who we do it for? And even niche. I know some of you have a niche, or a niche for our international attendees. So do you have a niche, or is that something that you might benefit from to niche your services down to then work with clients who will appreciate what you do? So as a result of, again, I was stuck in this lack of clarity, wrong message, bad client situation. And I also worked for people before I had my business, so I could see that they're stuck in this bad cycle. And I figured out that, okay, it's not just value, it's an entire marketing strategy that we have to put together. And excuse me for a second. So I started to study marketing a few years ago. And after really making all the mistakes myself and educating myself, I came up with a 3-step marketing program. It's really about clarifying, amplifying, and converting. So the marketing, and actually it's not a program, it's a process. It's a 3-step marketing process. So first, clarifying who's my ideal client, what do I do for them, what is my brand, what is my niche, and what is the value that I bring to these ideal clients. Next is amplify. Then once I have clarity into who do I do this for, what do I do, how do I do it, what's valuable about it, then I can amplify that message and actually send out the right message. Because otherwise we all look like the 99-cent taco. And the third step is converting. So then converting those leads into qualified prospects. And as a result of putting together this 3-step marketing process, I put together an online course called Market Like an Extrovert. Because so many of us are introverted, myself included, and it's hard for us to put ourselves out there. So I put together my online course called Market Like an Extrovert. Now, this course is part of the 5MB Academy, which I told you about when we started, which is my online academy for bookkeepers, where I teach you how to become a confident bookkeeper. And there are many other courses that are available through the 5MB Academy. My cleanup and diagnostic course is the most popular course. We also have Shopify bookkeeping, simple pricing, unlocking your financials, and the virtual bookkeepers roadmap. Now, if you're interested in the marketing course, and excuse me because I'm trying to cough. Sorry about that. Okay, I'll drink some water here. Maybe that'll go away. Okay. So if you're interested in the marketing course or any of the other courses, we are having a summer savings sale in which you can get 12% off on all of the 5MB courses. The sale starts on July the 4th and it ends on Tuesday, July the 11th. If you're on my mailing list, you will get an email about the sale with the discount code on July the 4th. If you're not on my mailing list, then make sure that you sign up to be on my mailing list so you can get that email. And Jesse, I believe, will be sharing that link with you in the chat. So sign up to be notified and how do you know if you're on my email? So if you get an email about this webinar, you're on my email list. So let's go over some resources. So first of all, my YouTube channel. So if you go to 5mbvideo.com, 5MB Academy has a lot of free and paid courses, as I mentioned. And again, sign up to be notified about my latest content by following the link that Jessie will share with you guys. So now we're going to go into questions. And let me just kind of get ready, get that prepared to be able to share the chat here. Give me 1 second. Oh, there we go. All right. So I'm going to go into the Q&A. So if you put something in the chat, I'm not going to see it. So if you want me to answer your question, that's where I'll be. And I'll probably be on for about 15 to up to 20 minutes answering questions. And I'll try to get to all of them if I can, unless I start coughing. So Tatiana says, as I'm sitting here in the webinar, I had a call from a client that doesn't want to hire me because of cost. He asked me to fix deposits because he can't seem to get them to match to the invoice. Should I charge for that, and how much? Okay, so first of all, do you go to the dentist and ask them to do something for free, or to the doctor, or to anyone? No. And so we need to be just like any other service provider. We charge for everything that we do. And I know I have been there too, like, well, it's just going to take me 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. You charge for it, because even a 5-minute fix, again, we're learning about value. It doesn't matter how long it takes. If the value that the client will receive is far outweighs the 5 minutes that it will take you to do it. So yes, you should charge. How much, I don't know, because I don't know enough, but make it whatever's going to be worth your while to help them to do that. And in keeping in mind, the client doesn't want to hire you because of cost. And so maybe they're just not an ideal client. And again, there might be that 99-cent taco that you don't need to be working with. Next, Natalie, regarding emotions, any tips on what to do when the client who decides is different from the client who works with us? So for example, the CEO or board agrees to your contract, but your direct contact is the office manager who loves working with us. So in this case, we don't have a direct emotional impact on the decider because they don't work with us. Well, yes. The person who signs the dotted line, or the board, they have reasons why they're hiring you. And so they value certain things. The office manager values things that are completely different. And so we have to find out actually what's valuable for one, like the decision makers, and what's valuable for the person that you're working with. And so the person that you're working with, maybe sometimes they get scared that you're going to introduce new ways of doing things and that they're not going to understand it. Or they're going to be scared that maybe you're going to make them look bad. And so then you have to start communicating to them like, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here so that I can make your job better, and so that they can feel comfortable working with you. Daniel says, how does one price services in such online work accounts like Upwork? Oh gosh, I'm sorry, Daniel, I'm not sure I understand the question. How does pricing, I think, help you set yourself apart in Upwork when you charge hourly? I think that's what you're asking. Yeah, in some of those platforms like Upwork, there is a lot of price competition. But I do know someone who's very, very successful in Upwork, and she goes for premium clients. And so again, we have a lot of the 99-cent taco people on Upwork and platforms like that, but there are still those people who want to pay more. So it's a lot of it has to do then with how are you communicating and describing what you do in Upwork. So it goes back to how you communicate what you do. One of the things that I am using a lot now is ChatGPT to go in and ask it, like, even something I've written, like, make this sound better, and ChatGPT will rewrite it for you, and it does a great job of making things sound much better. or even writing something for you that then you can take and put it on your website or put it on your Upwork, etc. Movie says, awesome values to sell. What's the order that we can best communicate these values? Well, it starts really with your initially just your marketing. Like if they're going to your website, value is even communicated by your headshot. Do you have a nice headshot, or do you have one of those like selfies? I mean, even that communicates value. If you don't have a domain name, like an email address at your domain name, that comes across as cheap. So there are little things you can start to do that then shows that, hey, I'm a professional, I'm a business owner, I have things together. So from that, those little things to perhaps having a website, maybe even a one-page website to where people can go see you on your website. Then and then communicating some of those things. Who do you work best with? What do you do for them? Now, if you're on a sales call, a lot of value communication just comes from first asking open-ended questions so that your prospective client can tell you what their problems are. And then let's say that a lot of our clients come to us that okay, I'm a Shopify seller and I just connected an app to bring over Shopify transactions into QuickBooks. And now I have thousands of transactions in my QuickBooks with no way of reconciling. And my books are completely messed up and I don't know what to do. So our value comes in essentially saying, yes, this is something we fix all the time. We know exactly how to fix it and we'll have it fixed for you by X date. And so there are a lot of ways to do that. And perhaps we need to do another webinar maybe to continue this conversation, but I hope that helps. But it's really about, it's everything instead of just the one thing as far as communicating value. And again, it goes back to positioning and your marketing message. Rob asks, do you provide individual business coaching sessions? I do. If you go to my website at mavenc.com, then you'll see where we provide coaching services. These are individual mentoring with me, and then you'll be able to click on the link to request information, and then you'll receive a brochure with the services that you can get with me. Amber says, for those who passionately dread marketing, at what point is it worth it for us to pay for help with that? Okay. Yes, you can pay someone to do marketing, but until you get to a point where you know who your ideal client is, so you have to know who that ideal client is. Well, I'm going to back up and even, what taco are you selling? Okay, so you first need to know, what taco are you selling? Okay, where on the value scale are you? And then figure out who's your ideal client, what you do for them, what is valuable, and how you do it. Marketing, even paying someone to do marketing it won't work, because most of the time what I see many of you on your Facebook is that you have these very generic social media posts that I can tell some social media manager made them for you. And they're just like, business owners, you need to do your bank reconciliation this month. Okay, it's not talking to a specific client. And again, it's talking about the taco recipe and not the taco experience. And so, yes, you can pay someone, but I think instead of just saying, I dread marketing, be like me, because I was so scared. I did not want to do marketing. I did not want to talk to people. And I learned about marketing and I empowered myself. And now I love marketing. But it's one of those things that even if you pay someone, you may not have done the foundational work to get to the point where it'll be worth your money. Rebecca says, how do you handle when a prospective client is referred by a past or current client and says something like, so Sue told me that you can do 2 years of bookkeeping for $700. In other words, telling me the price I will charge. I think that tells you already that you have a client who's less than ideal. And normally you want to then have clarity into who is an ideal client, and then have service offerings for that type of ideal client. And if they don't fit the category of ideal client, they're just not going to be a good fit for you. So many times our issue is we keep taking anybody for any price for any service, when in fact we need to be clear on who do we work with, what do we do for them, and how much we charge in order to then attract more of those types of clients. Lisa is asking, do you pay for ChatGPT? I think there's a paid version, but I use the free version. Carolyn is asking, is there a lot of Shopify type clients that are looking for bookkeeping? I would say yes. It is a bit challenging to find Shopify clients. Many of them will find you, and for my students, the majority of the Shopify clients that they have find them. All right. I'm just going to look through the chat real quick to see if we have anything else. And Starling says, I decided this year I will not do any QBO review or assessments free, and I've had 4 potential clients and none of them were interested in paying. I'm still standing firm, but part of me feels like I lost out on business. So again, you might have to go back. If you are attracting the 99-cent taco clients, I want you to go back to your marketing. So I want you to go back to your if you have a website or your Facebook page or any marketing materials that you have, and look at how is it coming across. Are you coming across as higher value or lower value? Or do you not have enough to then show people that you have a legitimate business? So as I was saying, maybe if they're going to, like, say, your Facebook or Facebook page, and there's this selfie type picture and not a nice headshot, if they don't have any insights into who you are, even, what do you do? If you have an email like veronica@gmail.com, there are things that are probably making you come across as the cheap taco, and then you keep attracting the cheap taco people. Okay, so look at that and start addressing some of those things, and then start thinking about how can you start to appeal to a higher level of client, a client that wants a different experience. And perhaps even where are you looking for those clients is another, that perhaps you keep looking for and finding the cheaper clients because you keep looking in the same place. Now, I know that I'm not giving you this like, this is the answer and go do it, because as I said, it's sort of this holistic thing. And over time, I think once you have clarity into who is that ideal client, what do you do for them, what's valuable, if you don't have that clarity, you will not find or attract that client because you're just taking anybody. So once you have that clarity, then you can start working toward attracting that type of client. So it's not going to be an overnight thing, but a lot of it has to be like in your mindset has to change in order for you to then start looking, like knowing who is that, would that be a better client for me than this other person, and then start to change your marketing and your message to start attracting those clients. So it is a journey. And like I said, I cannot give you like the formula you have to do it to be successful, but there are certain things that you have to start doing in order to move in that direction. And one of them was then understanding even what prospective clients find valuable. All right. Let's see. I have about 5 more minutes, so I'm just going to take these last 3 questions that are here, and let me reshare my screen. Okay. And now I lost them. Oh, new. Oh, I think you guys stuck more questions in it. I think there's more questions. I will try. Okay, so 5 minutes and I'll see if I can finish. Melissa says, what do you say when a potential client leads off with, what do you charge? You know what? Whenever somebody starts off with how much is it, they're not an ideal client. And so I just don't, I don't get that question as much anymore because of things that I've changed in my own marketing. But I would probably say something along the lines of, we customize our services to our client specific needs, and therefore I cannot give you a specific amount. Now, if they're asking me about, let's say, bookkeeping, and I know maybe what the revenues are, if I have some information, I will say a client your size normally pays from X to Y. Okay, so now I've put them in, I've given them a ballpark figure. And then if that's something they're not interested in, then they'll let you know right away. Carolyn says, do you have a course on how to raise prices on current clients? I'm underpriced for what I do. I have a course called the Simple Pricing System on how to calculate pricing for monthly bookkeeping. I have other courses on cleanup and diagnostic review in which I teach those processes and also teach you how to price for those services. And all of that is available through 5MB Academy. Rachel says, I have a lot of prospective clients that say they want to work with me. I send them the proposal and they say they will get back to me and appreciate all the time I spent with them, but they never get back. So how do I close the sale upon finishing the consultation? So I don't send proposals to clients. I get them on a call and we go over my pricing, and they either make a decision at that point, and many of them do, or then they will think about it, and then I ask them, when can I follow up with you? And I will follow up. But if they don't respond, I just move on, because many times they're just not responsive type people who are not going to be a good client for us. But I would say, Rachel, that you might just need to get them on a Zoom call and go over your pricing and services together, and then just ask, are you ready to move forward? Is what I always ask. Are you ready to move forward? And that is a magical, that is actually, like, if I can give you one thing that you can change instantly, is to ask a prospective client after you go through your services and your pricing, ask them, are you ready to move forward? And then they will either tell you yes or no. Karan says, my highest paying client refuses to use QuickBooks, which I have to go into the office at least twice a week. Do you believe it's a good idea to part with that client? Yes, if that's not the type of client that you want to work with, but I would replace them first with a client that I do want to work with, replace that revenue, and then let go of the client that you don't want to work with. And we've done that a lot, even as we changed to working with niche clients. Is we'd get a new client, we'd let go one we didn't want to work with. And Anne says, do you ever worry that if you niche to an industry, you are subject to the same market forces as that industry, i.e., if something major changes with Shopify, what if it affects your entire business rather than diversifying industries? I don't worry about it, but I'm very, very good at pivoting, and I have pivoted many times. And so if something were to happen like that, we can pivot to other things like cleanup. We could easily change. So I think when you niche, it can be very profitable. At the same time, yes, you do run a risk, but then you have to stay on top of what's going on in the industry as well as other industries in order to, and also keep yourself up to date so that you can then make a pivot. So in our case, if something happens with Shopify, we would just probably go to Amazon or some other e-commerce, or we just go into cleanup or other things. So we have other things that we can fall back on very easily. And Lisa says, how do I deal with clients that fall off and your income is instantly lower? We charge a monthly subscription price that is clients pay for at the beginning of the month. So they pay until they cancel services. And so I would, again, we're working with ideal clients. An ideal client wouldn't fall off. They would just be on a monthly service agreement in which they're automatically paying you every month, whether they give you what you need or not. And then that way, at least your income is protected until such time that they then will do a cancellation of services. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I always enjoy this time together with you guys, and I look forward to seeing you next month. And talk at, I'm getting an idea of, I might do like a website review of for some of you. So I'm kind of cooking up an idea of maybe having some people submit their website, and then I can review it live and then kind of let you know and give you feedback on your marketing. I think would be a great idea. So I'm going to come up with something like that where we can get some people to submit their website. And then in my next webinar, I will review some websites or some of your marketing and give you some feedback as to then how do you move away from the 99-cent taco into being into those higher value services. All right. Well, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next month. Take care.